So Alex, we're on our third video now in our series. I think in the first one we covered the value chain of financial services and the valuations for all the component parts of that. And in the second one we obviously discussed the evolution of advice. And towards the end of that we touched on a strategy that a number of advisors are using about optimising their centralised investment proposition. And we've obviously think we can help in that area, and we've obviously launched our product, the Tailored Portfolio Service. You know, could you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think coming back to the points we've discussed over the last couple of videos, the Tailored Portfolio Service is absolutely aimed at financial advice businesses taking more ownership and having more input into the look and feel of the investment solution that they are recommending to their clients. So as we know, the current model, and it's been an extremely popular model and one that we run today also, is the traditional managed portfolio service. So that's a range of investment portfolios constructed by an investment team, just like the one we have here in Blackfinch, and the advisor obviously then chooses the right portfolio for the client. The Tailored Portfolio Service takes that to the next level, into the next level of detail, in particular when it comes to the advisor inputting into the shape and the feel of that product. Now, there's a lot of variables that the advisors can have control over in the look and the feel of their range of portfolios. We touched on the previous video, I think you were discussing the importance of the advisor brand would be one of them. So how they're branded, the naming conventions, asset allocations, cost is obviously a very important one, how the reporting is produced and disseminated to the clients. So advisors can be as hands-on or as hands-off as they choose in the creation of the investment solution overall.
So are advisors involved in the investment committees, in the construction, and how does the branding work?
That absolutely depends on the level of input that particular firm wants. So in a nutshell, I think we look at the different needs and wants of the firms that are coming to us expressing interest in the Tailored Portfolio Service. One sort of demographic of firm would be those advisors that have been very successful over many years in building and constructing their own portfolios for clients, typically on an advisory basis. They've enjoyed a lot of success doing that, but they might be at a stage now where it's the administration and the ongoing reporting and the actual operation of those models is becoming too time-consuming for those firms. But they still have very clear investment views and ideas that they want to share with other investment professionals. In those instances, absolutely. You know, regular communications between our investment team here at Blackfinch and the advisor themselves are crucial in shaping how those portfolios look. Another firm we're more used to outsourcing, have been doing so for many years, very comfortable with the concept of outsourcing, purposely don't want to be too much in the detail of the final investment decision, but equally are very interested in how the portfolios are constructed. Do the portfolios represent the brand of that firm? And by the brand, I mean the cultural values of that firm. They want to control and oversee key parameters, cost being one. Mapping to their chosen risk profiler, another really important and popular one when advisors are coming to us saying that I want these portfolios to perfectly map to my client's risk profile. So it can work in a variety of ways, and that's all ironed out in the consultation phase at the start when we're getting to know the firm and their requirements, basically.
I think one of the things I was kind of keen to explore, we've talked a lot about the benefits for the advisor business, and the impacts on them and the efficiencies. But I guess the real focus for us is, you know, why are these strategies, you know, beneficial for the end clients, who are obviously the most important people at the end of the chain.
No one knows the client base better than the advisor, and this is something that we had feedback from when we were talking about our existing managed portfolio services, that the range of models is great, totally understand the investment process, they were happy with the broad parameters, but they're saying actually I know my demographic of clients might have a particular preference or for a certain investment style. I'm speaking to firms with various ESG views, and they vary in strength of application. They know that their client base has been attracted to their firm, them as advisors, because of certain ways that they position themselves and how they view the world. In having far more input and oversight into the construction of their own portfolio range, that advisor knows their client base better than anyone else, and so they know that that's going to better fit the client than say a broader solution would, because they've got that control, they've got that variable, and they know the clients the best.
And what would you say to those people that feel that part of maintaining their independence is having multiple solutions?
Definitely. So something we actively encourage is the advisor firms to regularly sort of look at the market and say, okay, I'm going to select you as an investment manager today. I'm going to build a range of models and investment solutions, but at any moment in time, and we actively encourage that they should be regularly reviewing other investment managers in the market. That's the independence piece coming back in. So going back to the previous video, you'll recall I had a very interesting conversation with an advisor recently about the new proof of independence. Bizarrely looks like consolidating a CIP, but actually the independence is firmly there. Whilst they run their own range of portfolios, the investment manager appointed to them can absolutely be replaced should they fail to meet the mandate. And we are fully accountable to that, and it's our job to ensure that we continue to deliver the best outcomes for the mandate, for the advisor firm and for the clients.
So I guess simplistically, from what you're saying, is it's almost a more efficient way of running a centralised investment proposition.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly that. So you've got the CIP, you know the client base, you know that you might have cost-conscious clients, you might have clients that are less concerned about cost and more about alpha generation. You design the range of portfolios to suit those client sort of bases, if you like, if the client base is, say, cut up, and you've got that structure in place, and then you employ the services of a discretionary investment manager, and that's again something that I think is very important to note as well. It's leaning on our discretionary permissions as well to execute the trading within the portfolios and carry out the operational side of the portfolio management. But yeah, we're appointed as investment manager, but we actively encourage the advisor firms to regularly review others in the market to ensure that they are still getting the best value for their clients, because like you've said many times before, I completely agree, it's got to be to the benefit of the client. So regularly review the market, make sure that the managers are doing the best for the client, and absolutely make sure that we're doing our job and we remain accountable.
And what do you think of what can be kind of customizable? I know we've probably touched on a few of these throughout the conversation, but if you kind of summarise it, what would be the kind of things that could be customised?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. So in initial conversations with prospective firms, that's what the top question is, right, what can I customise? And we've come a long way from, 10 years ago, customised would be a co-branded fact sheet. We've come a long, long way from that. The main sort of drivers of the customisation are, what do you want the proposition to look like? What do you believe in as an advisor when you look at investment markets? Do you believe in the power of a passive-only portfolio? Do you believe in the power of an actively managed investment portfolio only? Or do you believe in actually a blend between the two strategies and the right market environment is right? That's down to your belief. Now, some advisors might say, actually, I leave that to the investment guys, great. But do you believe that there should be a cost cap to your clients? Do you believe investment managers should run the portfolios with an absolute cap on the total cost? Or would you be comfortable having a soft cap with a buffer to go over should economic conditions present attractive opportunities? The risk profiling point, really popular one. If you're taking your clients through that onboarding journey, through the risk profiling tool, it's coming out with a result at the end. Do you believe you want your range to perfectly match that output from the risk profiler at every time? So platforms, actually, we've touched on platforms a lot in this series. What platforms do you want the solution to be available on? It's got to work from the wrapper side and the administration side from the platform to the solution. Too often I've seen firms saying, yeah, I love the solution, but the bulk of my assets is on this platform. So it's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for my clients. I've recommended that platform for a reason. So all of those elements are the customizable sort of variables, and we can go into sort of further. I've touched again on ESG or even more strict ethical mandates as well. We can construct portfolios to fit those mandates, and those are broadly the areas that will be customized by the advisor.
Great. So I guess the obvious question would be, why would someone partner with Blackfinch to do this?
Firstly, we are an intermediary-facing business, and we always have been. Ultimately, we're in a very fortunate position to have deep relationships with financial advice businesses across the UK. And through those years, we've learnt as we've covered in this video series, a lot of the pain points and the opportunities that these advice businesses face. So we're in a very fortunate and strong position to deliver a solution aimed at the financial advisor market and their clients that is absolutely fit for purpose. So the second very important part is the investment team. More often than not, when you look at investment providers that operate in the multi-asset space, so we're talking MPS and unitized funds, They're run by a team which is very experienced in that area only. What's brilliant about Blackfinch is that while we too have a dedicated team that focuses in that area, we also have a more diverse range of investment products. So some of the viewers may be familiar with our tax-efficient investment products that we operate within Blackfinch. They cover areas such as venture capital, small cap UK listed businesses, renewable energy, property development lending. So what that means is when you combine those investment teams together under one roof, it's quite a powerful environment for challenge and uncovering investment opportunities. It really helps sharing knowledge and ideas and actually getting different viewpoints from these asset classes that ultimately help feed that broader multi-asset approach. And how we sort of screen our funds. So actually, going back to that first point about, Blackfinch being very fortunate to have a lens into, advisor businesses across the UK and understanding the opportunities and challenges they're facing, I do think it's worth us covering about that bringing the value back in point, because again, this short series is focused a lot on how do we help advisors bring value back into their business and deliver enhanced solutions to their clients. So I just wondered if you wouldn't mind touching and sort of summarising why that tailored portfolio service proposition that we're offering can ultimately help address that challenge that we addressed, that we sort of discussed in the beginning, which was all about bringing that value back in.
The obvious part of this is we heard all the things that Blackfinch can do. It's actually really fundamentally improving the operational efficiency of that business. If you imagine, I alluded to it in the second video where we discussed all the varying multiple solutions, multiple bits of information, all of that makes the businesses run less efficiently. So any money that can be saved from an efficiency perspective effectively goes back in to the valuation of that business. So using that kind of metrics we talked about in the first video, if we're able to save £50,000 in costs overall for that business, that's not only is that £50,000 saving which goes immediately onto the profit, but what that also means, if you follow through the maths from the previous thing, that's 6 to 7 times a multiplier effect on the valuation of the business. So that 50 is actually a 300 or 350,000 pound increase in the valuation of the business. And of course, the larger the numbers, clearly the larger the impact on the value. So you've got kind of that efficiency optimization play. I think every tailored portfolio solution we've been involved with has actually resulted in significant cost savings for the clients. Again, remember, we always come back to this point. We always want to make sure this is a tailored portfolio service for the advisors to benefit the end clients. So what we've seen though is, in a number of instances, the ongoing fees have reduced so significantly. And what we're seeing is the advisors effectively doing some more additional work to support that. As we mentioned earlier, they can be involved in the investment committee. They can be involved in as much level as much or as little level as you described. But actually, so a number of people have looked at that and have kind of looked at their advice proposition and have attributed no rights or wrongs to this, by the way. It's just, it's people are able to do that. A particular scenario where an advisor's existing range of portfolios was, I think, 110 basis points. The solution that was developed brought the fees down to around 65 basis points, but the advisors wanted to increase his involvement within it, as we talked about earlier, and what he chose to do in that is explicit within his terms of business, with his client, in his customer agreed remuneration, he added an additional 10 basis points to his portfolio. What ends up happening is that saving then the clients down by 30, 40 basis points, and what we started to see there is the advisor business, if it's 100 million, forgive my simple maths, do it in round hundreds. Yeah. But that was effectively could be, in a situation of 100 million, that could be, £100,000, which, as we talked about in maths earlier, could potentially add £600,000 to £700,000 to the valuation of that business. Yeah. Now that's optimization. Remember, we want to be optimization to make sure the client benefits in the end. Yeah. And this is in the focus of all three parts of this series. And I think, it's been a real pleasure being able to talk to you. Yeah, we need to ensure that the financial advisor optimises his business, but crucially, as always, making sure it's in the client's best interest to do so. So, and right from the beginning, we talked again about this idea that we need, the advisor is the crucial part of this to ensure great client outcomes. We need to make sure that advisor business has longevity, and that longevity is a function of, potentially profitability and other factors. So what we're saying here is, we believe that, the tailored solutions can not only improve that efficiency add value to the business overall.
Part of our onboarding process really is around an open conversation. What are they looking to achieve? What are they looking to tailor? How much input would they like? Would they not like? And we absolutely welcome those conversations. So for those firms that are already part of the Blackfinch community and are already familiar with our products, they're more than likely going to have a point of contact. But for those that don't, we have contact details on the following slides. And I just think, yeah, it's worth saying that we're very open and welcome conversations with new firms. And with that, yeah, thank you very much. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks, me too.